Welcome everyone, Costin here with a discussion about the Protection Paladin for World of Warcraft Burning Crusade Classic. What a number of people have asked me about when it comes to gearing in Tier 5 in Phase 2 is what items should they prioritize. Now I've made a gearing list for the Protection Paladin in Tier 5 and I recommend you check it out. I'll provide the link in the description. But beyond what overall pieces of gear you want, what are the pieces of gear that you should prioritize? What are the pieces of gear you as a prop paladin should go to your guild with and say, I want these over anyone else? There are some obvious choices here and some that are not necessarily so obvious. So first off, the most important item that you can get from Phase 2, from Tier 5, from SSC and Tempest Keep is the Darkens Grasp. This is from the Verdant Sphere quest, which drops from Kael'thas. Now, I'm not certain if it's on the PTR. I haven't personally done Kael'thas on the PTR. And even if it is on the PTR, whether or not it's actually going to be on live, that's a different discussion. I think it should be, just like with the McFerrin head, it should be. If the McFerrin head was in it from the start, then likely the Verdant Sphere is. If the Verdant Sphere is in, then you can get the Darkens Grasp. Why is this item so important for Protection Paladins? It's because it's the single best item for your crush cap. Other items, just purely from a survival perspective, for other items, if you're interested in getting your crush cap, you have to make a trade-off, right? You're either trading stamina with trinkets, for instance. You're trading stamina trinkets or spell power trinkets for avoidance with other pieces of gear. You might lose some spell power or anything like that. With this item, you aren't really losing anything, because when we're looking at tanking next from actual raids, this is the best one for a prop paladin. A warrior doesn't care about this. A warrior would want to use the Carafrest one. Same with the Feral Druid. You gain an enormous benefit. There are some classes, some other classes that also gain a benefit, but it's nowhere near as large as for a prop paladin. This is the one. You may not use this all the time, because if you're min-maxing your threat output, you're likely going to want to use a PvP neck with spell power. But if you're interested in your crush cap in any situation, be it having a good amount of avoidance and block for the sake of trash tanking, which can significantly reduce the damage you're taking, or having crush cap for boss tanking, this is the one item you would use 100% of the time. And that's why it's best in slot, not just for Tier 5 or Tier 6. It's best in slot for the entirety of Burning Crusade. It is that great, and that's why you as a prop paladin care about this so much. In second place, we have the Seal of Danzalar from Lurker Below. A ring with decent armor, stamina, resilience, and spell power. This is probably the best in slot Protection Paladin ring in the entire game. Certainly for all of Tier 5 and all of Tier 6. For Sunwell Plateau, I'm not quite certain if you would ever want to replace it. Maybe there are some rings that have more spell power than that, but I don't think there is any other ring that has armor, spell power, resilience, and stamina. It's extremely powerful for that purpose. Plenty of people probably want it for the sake of PvP, but you are the biggest beneficiary for this, for the purposes of actual raiding. And because of the stats on it, this item would help you greatly for the sake of resistance gearing, if you're interested, if that's an issue. Not necessarily like a combined set of Frost and Nature, but like if for fire resistance or all that resilience makes it useful, the armor makes it useful, it helps to get to your crit cap, and it increases your threat. No one else can benefit from it. Plenty of people would want it for PvP. And it's a really powerful item that you can use for a very long time. So that's why it's in second position on this list. In the third position, we have the infamous Fang of the Leviathan from Leofrost the Blind. Virtually every warlock and mage will want this sword, and I'm sure some people would say, oh, but your best is the merciless gladiator weapon. Technically, yes, but expecting every raider to go for a PvP weapon that requires a decent rating in Arena is unreasonable. And by that same token, if you can go for it as a prop paladin, if you can get the merciless weapon as a prop paladin, so can warlocks and mages. Their PvP choices may not be as good as yours is. Yours is actually best in slot. for them, it's not quite the same. Fang of Leviathan, though, if you're a pure raider, or if you're just not the kind of guy who's going to be able to get that kind of arena rating, Fang of Leviathan is your best in slot weapon. Now, one thing to consider, however, in terms of getting this weapon and prioritizing getting this weapon is the following. This weapon you will replace this weapon with the trash weapon from Mount Hydro, whereas Warlocks and Mages will not. They don't have that choice. They have to depend on a boss drop. I believe Nagentis drops the Spell Power Dagger, if I'm not mistaken, and certainly Archimon drops the Spell Power Sword. So for them, it may be far more difficult to replace Fang the Leviathan than it would be for you. So something to keep in mind. What I would say based on that is, if you get this, if this item drops early on in phase 2, then absolutely push for it. If it's towards the end of phase 2, however, and tier 6 is coming along, don't be greedy, let them have it, because they're going to replace it far harder than you in tier 6. Just bear that in mind. But anyway, Fang and the Leviathan, very powerful item, will certainly help you out as a Protection Paladin. If you can get the Merciless Gladiator Gavel, do so, but again, not everyone is going to be able to, and I think it is unreasonable to require everyone to get a decently high arena rating just for the sake of a resilience benefit, because that's really what the Merciless Gladiator Gavel gives you. It's resilience. Fang the Leviathan has more spell power, by the way, than the regular Gladiator's Gavel. You should get the regular Gladiator's Gavel for the sake of resistance gearing. Like, there are some fights where you're just going to have to make those sacrifices, and having a weapon resilience helps with that. But for general purpose, Fang the Leviathan is a perfectly solid choice. In the 4th spot, we have the Phoenix Wing Cloak that drops from Alar. Of course, there's also the Tome of Fiery Redemption from Alar, but no one is going to compete with that other than a prop paladin. But other tanks may want this particular cloak because it's a pretty solid avoidance cloak. It has dodge, it has stamina, it has defense. It is the best cloak in terms of avoidance in the entire game until Zulaman. This is why you want it as a Protection Paladin, because in tier 6, Druids and Warriors will replace this cloak. Even if they get it and use it, they will replace this cloak with Trash Cloak from Mount Hydro, if they even want to use it in the first place. Whereas you, as a Prop Paladin, you will not. If you have this cloak, this is the cloak you're going to use, with the exception of the situations where you'd use a Fret Cloak, like the Sergeant Heavy Cape, which you should get. But for situations where your avoidance and your Crush Cap and your actual survival matters, this is the cloak you would want to use. So a lot of situations. Don't underestimate the damage you're going to take from certain bosses, especially in tier 6. This is a cloak you want to have. And hey, if you're gearing up to try and tank Illidan and you need the Crush Cap for that, and you need to avoid or block Shear so it doesn't affect you, this is the cloak you want to have. Yeah, it's a better version of the Steam Volt's cloak, and it's better than the tier 6 cloak that drops from Mount Hydro Trash. So absolutely get this cloak. And in final position on this list, we have the tier 5 pieces. There's no particular priority here. I'd say the gloves and the pants. The shoulders are lower priority, of course, but all the shoulders, gloves, pants are what you should aim for with tier 5. Maybe you can get the helmet, maybe you can get the chest eventually, but in terms of tier 5 pieces, I'd especially get the gloves and I'd especially get the pants. And the shoulders as well. Go for those free items, get them, get the higher armor, get the spell power. They are overall tier 5 on those free pieces is just a net benefit compared to tier 4. You still want to keep your tier 4 shoulders, by the way, just in cases where you want that block rating. But most of the time you will do just fine with the tier 5 ones. And the tier 4 gloves that are completely garbage compared to the tier 5 ones. Same with the tier 4 pants versus the tier 5 ones. So pants and gloves in particular are very important, shoulders as well. And that's really the list of what you should prioritize in terms of your gearing as a Protection Paladin, what items matter, especially the neck and the ring. Those are two important. Fang Leviathan, look, if you don't get it, you may suffer in tier 5, but you're going to get a good weapon in tier 6, so does it matter long term? Maybe not, but yeah, 6 months with either having to farm arena points for a Gladiator Gavel, which is an inferior weapon anyway for purposes of Fret, so you're going to do less threat, is not a great experience. I can tell you that. You can make do without it, but it would be so much nicer to have the Fang of the Leviathan. Cosini here signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, enable notifications, and stay tuned for more.